Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a 4th of July Independence Day inspired look. Here you're seeing the end result of what I got, but I wanted to put it all together with you. So if you're interested in seeing my look, if you enjoy watching kind of themed eyeshadow or theme looks come together, then please stick around. If you enjoy watching, I'd love a thumbs up. Leave me a comment, message me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you're up to. So thanks so much for hanging out today, and let's get into the look. So I'm starting with, my base is complete. So I've got some foundation, bronzer, blush, a little bit of lip gloss, eyebrows are done, and I wanted to do a fun 4th of July look. I always may have an idea in my head when I go to start a specific look, but I always want to go with where the look takes me as it's developing. Don't want to force the idea onto what's actually happening. So let me tell you what I'm planning on doing, and then we can talk about, and we can see where it's gone from there. So I primarily, for my 4th of July look, I want to use blue and red, and then white a little bit as well. And I also really want to bring in some neons because it's summertime, and when is there a better time to wear neons? So today I want to be using my BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop palettes. I've got all 6, but today I want to use Cherry on top. So we've got some good primary red colors in that palette, and then Bubblegum, which has some good primary blue colors. And then for the neons, I'm thinking, I only have one set of neons, I believe, at this point, and those are from my Blend Bunny Surge palette. So I may dip into some of these other shades as well, especially the white and the black shades, we'll see. But these are the neons that I want to play with today. Also thinking as a possible sparkly topper when all is said and done, I've got my Sydney Grace loose pigment in the shade Floating Lights. And want to put on some lashes. We'll see if that happens, and let's get into it. So I'm going to start with, I've got some just Sephora eyeshadow primer. This is like the last thing to do before starting eyeshadow. So when I look at myself in the mirror, this should be the eye that has blue. Thinking of the American flag, this should be the eye that has blue, and this should be the eye that has red. But I think everything's kind of flip-flopped. So I'll do blue on this side, and especially for anybody I'm interacting with, you're gonna see this side on your left. So I'm gonna do the blue on this side and the red on this side. But I have to start with my left side, I think, unless I'm starting with a transition shade, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more intimidated by blue, so I'm going to start with red. Let's see what I want to do. Okay, so starting with just this big fluffy brush, and I'm just making sure it's clean with my color switch. And I'm going to dip into the lightest shade in the Cherry on Top palette and just buff that kind of all over. This isn't a step that I always do, but it's one we're doing today. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I've got just a little bit of a light pink wash on this lid. And you know what? While we're at it, we're gonna do the same thing on the other eye. So cleaning off my brush. And then from the Bubblegum palette, I'm gonna use the lightest shade here, called Chili. So same big fluffy brush. After I do this, I feel like you'll be able to see the contrast a little bit more. Between what's on the pink and what's on the blue. I like to see my eyeshadow looks as a combination of multiple steps, and I like to think that at different that I could stop at a different point in my eyeshadow. Let's say I suddenly realize I have 1 minute left. I can stop, put on mascara, and leave. So I like to build my looks that way, that I want my eyes to, you know, be similar in depth and in shape. But if I wanted to stop there, I could, or if I wanted to build something up, I could. Now, most days I do the same color on each eye, so it's not as much of a contrast as maybe it will be today. But yeah, that's just one thing in mind about kind of how I think about and how I like to build my eyeshadow looks. So at least for now, I'm just gonna carry on down the palette here in the mattes, and I'm gonna go with this shade, and I'm gonna work on that in the outer corner and then maybe up just a little bit into the crease. So we've got a little bit more depth going on, but nothing too intense. I'm gonna switch over to the bubblegum palette and do the same thing on the other eye. And just for reference, here's the shade that I'll be using on the other eye. Definitely more intense pigmented right off the bat in that shade. I'm also more intimidated by blue shadow than most color shadows, so it doesn't take much for me to feel like I need to slow down. Got a little more depth now on the red side and on the blue side. Cleaning my brush, switching back to Cherry on top. Gonna go with the third matte now. And keeping that even closer to the lash line. And now for the blue eye, going in with the third matte shade. Okay, now we are down to the last matte, and I think I'm gonna attempt a wing. I'm gonna use this real skinny eyeshadow brush, if that will focus. Real skinny eyeshadow brush to kind of create the wing, and then have no fear, we will clean it up with concealer before we're done. I'm gonna go ahead and take this wing probably about halfway in. So I really like the way that that wing turned out. Can it be repeated on the other side? I doubt it, but let's try anyway. Okay, they are sisters, not twins, but overall not terrible. I'll take it. Now I want to go back to the lightest shade for each eye and just kind of very lightly buff that over the top again, just to kind of soften things. And then maybe a little bit onto the lid as well to soften where the shade transitions into currently blank space on my lid. This brush is a little bit smaller than the first brush I started with so that I can be a little more precise in where I'm placing the product. Okay, here's where we're looking. I think this is fun. I'm enjoying it. I do think I want to go in with some floating lights to add a little party pizzazz to the holiday look. And then we'll come back and see about adding some neons as an inner corner. So I started just by tapping some floating lights into the lid here. You can see those little particles are what comes out of the jar. And then I'm just kind of pushing it into my finger. I'll give you a quick swatch. And you can see it kind of melts it just a little bit, but it still has this real cool piecey texture to it. A little bit of a flash of pink, kind of a clear base. Forgive my cat. So I'm going to apply some of this JD Glow glitter stuck adhesive. This is similar to, from my understanding, like a NYX glitter glue or some other kind of glitter glue. This is the only one I have and that I've tried, but I do like it. I think it works well. Just gonna place that kind of over the lid where I will want this to stick down. I'm gonna do one lid at a time. Worked the pigment into the brush, gonna give it a little spray. I feel like that doesn't show up at all. It's in there, trust me. And now let's apply it to the lid. So this has a very sheer base. Hopefully you can see the sparkle and the pieciness that's coming through after applying that. That's really pretty. I wish I had one that had more of a blue base because this has more of a pink base, so it really goes with the red side. And it'll go pretty with the blue side too because it's got a sheer base, but it would have more contrast if we had a blue-based pigment, but we will use what we've got. Some glitter glue. Sprayed my brush. Pick up a little bit more.
So there is floating lights on both sides.
Using the combination of spraying my brush after I put the product on and the glitter adhesive on my lids, I got very minimal fallout. I know everybody has a different opinion on fallout when you put an eyeshadow on your lid and then it falls down to the rest of your face. Personally, it really bugs me. So I really would prefer eyeshadow of any form to not have fallout. And I realize when you're working with a pigment like this, the likelihood of getting fallout is high. But that's why I think something like just figuring out the tools that work for you to help minimize that fallout, if that's something that bothers you, can be a real game changer. And so those are a couple items that have worked for me. Okay, now for this neon inner corner, I realized it would significantly be brighter if I had a white base to put them on. I don't feel like going out of my way to make that happen, so we're just gonna put some on, build it up, and we won't blame the shadows if they're not as bright and pigmented as they maybe could be. But which shades do I want to use? Because I feel like the light blue is an obvious pick for the blue eye, but this eye looks almost borderline pink, and I'm not trying to reinforce the pink. Maybe I'll see if I can mix the orange and the pink. Maybe get a little something there. Otherwise, who cares? It's makeup, we're having fun. I'll pick something. Okay, I did decide I want to start with the white shade and put that on the inner corners, and then I'll layer the neons on top of the white, and maybe that'll help give it a little bit of a pop. That's fun. The blue is clearly a different blue than everything else going on the lids. But I think it's fun. I think it's cool. And I think it's very summertime. And the 4th of July is in the summer, so makes perfect sense, right? Okay, I'm gonna go in and clean up the under eyes with concealer, do some shadow, probably just some light shadow on the underside of my eyes. I will put on mascara. I will attempt some fake eyelashes, and I'll be back to show you the final look. Hi guys, I'm back with the finished look. So I put on, I tidied up my concealer. I tidied up just a little bit the eyeshadow wings that were created, put on a little bit of mascara with some false lashes, and then I used an angled brush and some black liner to kind of fill in the space between where the lash ends and then the corner of my eye, just to give a little more definition. On the lips, this is definitely not the direction I thought I was going. I was kind of expecting to do a red lip, but because this red eye turned out a little more pink, I didn't want that contrast to make the pinky red look even pinkier. So I decided to go with blue lips. If you saw my last Instagram reel, I was wearing the same combination, but I've got Superstay, Matte Ink, and then Wet n Wild Lip on the lips. What's different this time from what I did on my Instagram reel is I included a little bit of this Menagerie Moonlit Metal Toppers. This one's the shade Queen Bee. I have 2 of these shades, a metal topper. So they're meant to be kind of a multi-chromatic, or at least duochromatic. I'm not the judge on multi versus duochrome. Topper that you can use on the eyes or on the lips, and it comes in a liquid form. I've really been enjoying playing with those. So they pretty much have a sheer base, except for that little bit of sparkle. Ignore the imperfect application of the lipstick, of the eyeshadow, of the lashes, of everything, because this look, this channel is about just having fun with our makeup that we already have. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you did any kind of themed look for 4th of July, please let me know. Please pop it in the comments or tag me over on Instagram. I'd love to see what everybody else does. I did a couple 4th of July looks last year as well. I don't know, there's something about, maybe it's the challenge of like the primary blue and the primary red that really intrigues me. I don't always do themed eyeshadow looks, but I especially enjoy doing them for 4th of July, America's Independence Day. So thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you next time.